As part of Hope for Miami, we all have the following great opportunities. First, to be a family, to be part of a wonderful team united by a common vision and mission and that cares for one another. We've got each other's back. Then, we have an opportunity to speak up, to share in the many different settings, the who, what, where, and why, not only of our agency, but also about our own individual programs and those of our team members. We want you to feel confident that you can speak clearly and accurately about your program and the specific subjects pertaining to it. Everyone has permission to speak up. Also, we have the opportunity to get equipped. At Hope for Miami, we value the continual growth of our team members in all areas of life. This includes learning skills, knowledge, and experience to help us perform our tasks more effectively. Let's all become subject matter experts in the many different areas of our work. What about sharing our story? The skills, knowledge, and experience we need are to prepare us for these opportunities, and we'd like to help provide you with useful resources for the settings we have available to us. Where are these areas where we can share? Well, in the social media, Facebook and Instagram, in those virtual settings we're using now, Zoom, FaceTime, Skype. Also, there'll be face-to-face opportunities, one-on-one with potential partners, donors. We'll have media interviews, and they will also be before different groups. Presenting information clearly and effectively is a key skill in getting your message across. Today, presentation skills are required in almost every field. Most of us are required to give presentations on different occasions. And while some people take this in stride, others find it much more challenging. But it is, however, possible to improve our sharing and communication skills with a bit of work. Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all. There's no single set of rules that can apply to all communication. There are, however, some things that every communication opportunity has in common. So these include, for example, be prepared. You will present better and share better if you have prepared effectively. This doesn't necessarily mean that you've written everything out, your speech verbatim, and rehearsed it until you know it by heart, although that might work for some folks. It does, however, mean that you have to be confident that you are saying the right thing in the right way to the right people. So we need to be clear about who our audience is and our message. Every presentation will be better if we have clearly considered the message that we want or need to convey and how best to convey it to our audience. These two pieces of information drive our style, structure, content, and even the use of visual aids. Also, we need to respect our time and then respect the interests of our audience. What do I mean? Let's never outrun or overrun the time we have allotted. In other words, don't outstay your welcome. Almost every presentation or time to share is better if it's shorter. Nobody minds going for coffee early or finishing up before they're expected to if you're in a meeting. But everybody minds being held up or delayed. Generally speaking, your audience starts your presentation on your side. They want to hear what you have to say. And as a rule, they're there more or less voluntarily. If they've chosen to listen to you, they want to enjoy it. But listen, the occasion is ours to lose depending upon what we do. Here's an important point. If you're doing or saying something that's not working, we need to do something else. I know for me, one of the worst feelings I had as a presenter is feeling that I've lost my audience. And you can tell they're looking at their cell phones or, they're just distracted. But if we continue to stumble through our remaining presentation for the next 15 minutes, we're in trouble. And don't think you don't have a choice. Here are some top tips for effective presentations. And for the sake of time, here are getting to the point with them. They include general ideas about connecting with your audience, information about the importance of our voice and our body language, and detailed tips about preparing PowerPoint, what you want to call slideshows. The most important tip of all, however, is to remember that it's all about our audience. Let's keep that in mind, and our presentation and sharing skills will instantly improve. Point number one, it's important for us to show our passion and our heart for what we're talking about and to connect to our audience. Sometimes it's hard to be relaxed and ourselves when we're nervous. This happens. But time and again, great presenters, great speakers say that the most important thing is to connect to your audience. And the best way to do that is to let our passion for our subject shine through. And let's be honest with the audience about what's important to us and why it matters. So we want to be enthusiastic and honest, and I believe the audience will respond. 2, let's focus on our audience's needs. We need to get to know our audience. Who are they? And our sharing and our communication needs to be built around what the audience is going to get out of it. As we prepare for what we're going to share, we need to bear in mind what the audience needs and wants to know, not just what we can tell them. While we're giving the presentation, we also need to remain focused on their response and react to that. There's several ways of doing this, but we need to make it easy for the audience to understand and respond. Here's a really important point. Number 3, keep it simple. We need to concentrate on our core message. So when we're planning our talk, we should always keep in mind this important question. Listen, what is the key message or the 3 key points for my audience to take away? When they go away, what do I want them to know and to feel and to do? And we should be able to communicate this key message very briefly. Some experts, listen, this is really interesting. Some experts recommend a 30-second elevator summary. Others say we need to write it on the back of a business card. It's that short, or to say it in 15 words or less. Whichever rule we want to choose, the important thing is to keep the core message brief and to stay focused on it. And what if you're planning to say what you're planning to say doesn't contribute to that core message? It's extra? Don't say it. Look at point number 4. We need to smile and make eye contact. We need to start off strong, number 5, and number 6. Remember the 10-20-30 rule for slideshows. We'll get to that in a second. It sounds easy, but a surprisingly large number of presenters fail to do this, making eye contact, smiling. And if you smile and you make eye contact, you're building rapport, which helps the audience connect with you and your subject. It also helps you feel less nervous because you're talking to individuals and not to some huge mass of unknown people. To help you with this, make sure that you don't turn down all the lights in the room so that only the slide screen is visible. I've done that before. Not a good idea. Your audience needs to see you as well as your slides and maybe see what's going on around them. Point number 5, start out strong. The beginning of your presentation is crucial, and you need to grab the audience attention and hold it from the very beginning. And they'll give you a few minutes grace in which to entertain them before they start to switch off if you're dull. So don't waste that on explaining who you are. Start by entertaining them. Try a story or an attention-grabbing image on a slide, but be creative. Number 6, this is interesting. Remember the 10-20-30 rule for slideshows. I didn't always obey this. If you're using a PowerPoint, here's a tip from a fellow named Guy Kawasaki of Apple. He suggests that slideshows should contain no more than 10 slides, last no more than 20 minutes, and use a font size no less than 30 point. And this last one is particularly important as it stops us from trying to put too much information on one slide. Again, I've been guilty of this. The whole approach avoids the dreaded so-called death by PowerPoint. As a general rule, slides should be the slideshow to you, the presenter. A good set of slides or PowerPoint should be no use without the presenter, and they should definitely contain less rather than more information expressed simply. You see? And if you need to provide more information, create a handout and give it to them after your presentation or a link that they can download. Number 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are very, very important key points. Number 7, telling stories. As human beings, we're designed to respond to stories. Think about it, the movies, the books, and everything. Stories capture us, and we love them, and they help us pay attention, and they also help us remember things. So if we can use stories in our talk, our audience is more likely to engage and to remember your points afterwards. Use them as an illustration of your point. It's a good idea to start with a story, but there's a wider point too. You need your presentation to act like a story. And what I've also heard is some of the most important ways to engage a person in your audience is to let them see their story in your story. So think about what story you're trying to tell your audience and create your presentation to tell it. Help them connect to it. At the end of this presentation, there's a link on more helps to presenting, which will provide useful and helpful ideas for storytelling. Number 8, use your voice effectively. The spoken word is actually a pretty inefficient means of communication, sometimes because it uses only one of the audience's 5 senses. Think about that. That's why presenters tend to use visual aids as well. But you can help to make the spoken word better by using your voice effectively. Voice inflection, rising, lowering, even using humor, and varying the speeds at which you talk. Emphasizing changes in pitch and tone will help make your voice more interesting, and it will hold your audience's attention. Number 9, this is important. Use of our body in speaking. It's been estimated, listen, that more than 3/4 of communication is nonverbal. And what that means is that as well as our tone of voice, our body language is crucial to getting our message across. So make sure that you're giving the right messages. Body language to avoid includes crossing your arms or keeping your hands behind your back or in your pocket or pacing a lot. So make your gestures open, confident, and move naturally around the stage and among the audience, if possible. Practice will help you with this. And if you find that presenting is difficult, it can be hard to be calm and relaxed about doing that. I know what that feels like. So one option is to start by concentrating on our breathing. Slow it down and make sure that we're breathing fully. Make sure that also that we continue to pause for breath occasionally during presentation. And don't talk too fast. Some people that get nervous talk too fast. That's going to be a problem. But if you can bring yourself to relax, you will almost certainly present better. And if you can start to enjoy yourself, your audience will respond to that, and you can engage them in better ways. So your presentations will improve exponentially, and so your confidence. It's worth a try. Now, this has been an attempt at a brief presentation to help you with improving your communication. And listen, if you have more time to develop your skills, then this link called Presentation Skills, and it's the section of a website called Skills You Need, is designed to help. It's fabulous. And that's where I got the talking points for this presentation. And it's divided into 2 parts. It's at first, there's a step-by-step guide to putting together and delivering a professional and effective talk or presentation. And number 2, there are more detailed areas of information about presenting and communicating in particular circumstances. And you can either use their step-by-step guide to walk through the presentation, or you can focus on just one or two areas that are of an issue for you. So here were the topics. What is a presentation? Preparing for your presentation, organizing our material, and writing the presentation. Then it also discusses deciding your presentation method, managing our notes, working with visual aids, presenting data, managing the event. And finally, there are points that talk about coping with your presentation nerves and what to do when it seems like you've lost your audience, dealing with questions, and how to build presentations like a consultant. I trust this has been helpful to you.